Welcome to the Daily Health Hack, your source for quick and effective tips to boost your well-being. In just 10 minutes each day, we'll share simple hacks for nutrition, fitness, and mental wellness. Join us to empower your health journey. Let's dive into today's hack.
Ever feel like your brain could use a little boost? Like that afternoon slump is hitting harder these days?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what if I told you there's a supplement that could sharpen your focus, improve your memory, and even give your workouts a serious upgrade?
We're diving into the world of creatine today.
Yeah.
And no, it's not just for bodybuilders.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I know creatine's got that whole gym rat rep, but I'm ready to hear about these brain-boosting benefits. What's the deal?
Right.
Is this some kind of magic, muscle-building, mind-sharpening miracle?
Let's break it down. Creatine is actually a natural compound that our bodies already produce.
Okay.
You can find it in foods like red meat and fish, too.
So why the need for supplements? If it's already in us, why the extra boost?
That's where things get interesting. While our bodies do produce creatine naturally, supplementation allows us to reach higher concentrations in our muscles and brain.
Okay.
Which is where we see those extra benefits kicking in.
Interesting. So it's like giving our bodies a little extra edge, a bit like upgrading from regular to premium fuel.
Exactly. And just to be clear, we're talking specifically about creatine monohydrate. That's the form that has the most scientific research backing it up. It's all about making sure that what you're putting into your body actually works.
Makes sense. So we've established that creatine isn't some synthetic concoction. It's already in our systems. But how does it actually work?
At its core, creatine plays a vital role in how our bodies produce energy, especially during those quick bursts of high-intensity activity.
Okay.
Think sprinting for the bus or lifting weights. It all comes down to a molecule called ATP, which is basically the energy currency of our cells.
Right.
Creatine helps replenish ATP stores faster, meaning you can push harder for longer.
Okay, that explains the workout connection. But what about the brain benefits we were talking about?
That's where things get really fascinating. Your brain is incredibly energy demanding.
Really?
Even more so than your muscles. And just like with physical activity, creatine can help your brain cells access and utilize energy more efficiently.
So instead of hitting a wall during a workout, we're talking about preventing that afternoon brain fog.
Exactly. Studies have shown that creatine supplementation can actually improve memory, boost cognitive function, and even help you deal with stress more effectively. It's like giving your brain the extra support it needs to fire on all cylinders.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. And you mentioned something earlier about neuroprotection.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting for those concerned about long-term cognitive health. There's promising research suggesting that creatine might offer some protection against neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Huntington's.
Wait, seriously, Parkinson's and Huntington's are no joke. What's the link there?
Researchers believe it comes down to how creatine impacts the brain's energy production, especially in those areas most vulnerable to these diseases.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. It sounds like we're talking about potentially changing how we approach cognitive health in the future.
Exactly. It's about thinking proactively and giving our brains the tools they need to thrive throughout our lives. And the research on creatine is certainly opening up some exciting possibilities in that regard.
Thinking proactively about brain health, that's a concept I can get behind. But before we get too far down that path, let's rewind a bit. We've been talking a lot about the brain benefits, but I know creatine has a huge reputation in the fitness world. So for those of us who hit the gym regularly, what kind of impact are we talking about?
So if you're looking to level up your workouts, creatine can be a real game changer. Remember how we were talking about it boosting your body's energy production? That translates directly to improved performance in the gym, especially for those high-intensity exercises.
Okay, so we're talking about lifting heavier, sprinting faster, basically maximizing those bursts of energy.
Exactly. Creatine helps you push harder and go further, which can lead to faster gains in muscle strength and power output.
I can see why it's so popular in the fitness world. But what about endurance? Does creatine help with those longer workouts too, or is it mainly for those quick bursts?
That's a great question. While creatine's main claim to fame is its impact on short bursts of intense activity, there's some evidence to suggest it can indirectly benefit endurance as well.
Indirectly? How so?
Think of it this way. By allowing you to train harder and recover faster, creatine indirectly helps you build more overall strength and stamina.
Okay.
So while it might not be the magic bullet for running a marathon, those improvements in strength and recovery can ultimately contribute to better endurance over time.
Gotcha. So it's like a domino effect. Now, for someone new to the world of creatine, how much should they actually be taking? Are we talking like huge scoops of powder here?
Not necessarily. The right dosage can vary, depending on factors like body weight and activity level. But generally speaking, a common starting point is around 3 to 5 grams per day taken consistently. It's best to start with a lower dose and gradually increase it if needed.
And speaking of those giant scoops of powder, how do people usually take it? I've heard it doesn't exactly taste like a milkshake.
You're not wrong. Creatine on its own doesn't have the most appealing taste. Most people find it easiest to mix it with juice or a sports drink.
A little flavor goes a long way, right?
Exactly. Now, another thing we should touch on is the concept of cycling creatine. You might hear some people talk about taking it for a certain period, then stopping, then starting again.
I've definitely heard that. Is cycling actually necessary, or is that just another fitness myth we can debunk?
It's a bit of both, actually. There's no scientific evidence to suggest that cycling creatine is necessary for its benefits or to avoid any potential side effects. In fact, research shows that it's safe for long-term use in healthy individuals.
That's good to know. No need to overcomplicate things.
Exactly. However, there is a reason why this myth persists. Some people find that they experience a more noticeable boost in water weight and strength gains when they first start taking creatine.
So it's about chasing that initial wow factor.
You got it. And once their bodies adapt, those effects might become less pronounced. That's where the idea of cycling comes in. By taking a break and then starting again, some people hope to recapture that initial surge.
It sounds like it really comes down to personal preference then. If you're happy with the steady benefits, there's no need to cycle. But if you're chasing that initial boost, cycling might be something to consider.
Precisely. Ultimately, the best approach is the one that aligns with your individual goals and preferences. And of course, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before starting any new supplement regimen.
So many options. It's great that there's room for personal preference when it comes to creatine.
Absolutely. And speaking of personal preferences, let's circle back to a topic we touched on earlier, those potential heart health benefits. Now, I know we're still in the early stages of research, but it feels like there's a lot of buzz around this.
There definitely is. Everyone's looking for that magic bullet for a healthier heart. So should we be adding creatine to our list of heart-healthy must-haves, or is it too soon to tell?
It's definitely too early to make any grand pronouncements about creatine being a cure-all for heart health. While some studies have shown a possible link between creatine supplementation and improved heart muscle function, we need more research to understand exactly how it works and what the long-term implications might be.
So no need to swap out your blood pressure meds for creatine just yet.
Not quite, but it's an exciting avenue for research nonetheless. Imagine a future where something as accessible as creatine could play a role in supporting heart health. That's a future I'd like to see.
Me too. And you know what's so fascinating about all of this? It's like creatine is challenging us to rethink what we thought we knew about supplements and even health itself. We tend to put things into neat little boxes. This is for your muscles, that's for your brain, but creatine seems to be blurring those lines.
It really is. And that's the beauty of scientific discovery. Just when we think we have things figured out, something comes along and shakes things up. Creatine is a perfect example of that.
I love that. It's a good reminder that there's always more to learn and that our understanding of health and wellness is constantly evolving.
Precisely. And that's perhaps the most important takeaway from our deep dive today. To stay curious, to remain open to new possibilities, and to never underestimate the power of a little supplement with a big reputation.
Well said. So as we wrap up this creatine deep dive, I think we can all agree this is one supplement that deserves a closer look. From its proven track record in the gym to its intriguing potential in areas like brain and heart health, creatine has earned its place in the spotlight.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating field of research and one that I'm sure will continue to yield surprising discoveries in the years to come.
I'm excited to see what the future holds. And for our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of creatine. Remember, knowledge is power and curiosity is key. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking those thought-provoking questions that lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.